Welcome to the Revere Veterans and Community Show. Today we do have a veteran of the police force of 19 years. His name is Gerard Salvati, and he will be talking about scam artists and cons.
Nice to see you, Mr. Morris.
Go ahead, Gerard. Take it away.
How you doing, Morris? Like I said to you earlier, well, first we'd like to express, from the entire Revere Police Department, we'd like to express our condolences to the families, the victims of this tragic event that occurred at the Boston Marathon. And we hope that justice will be served, and that's as far as we can go as that. As we said, we've been doing a citywide effort through the mayor of this community policing, and we are going to also bring in a citywide for the businesses. So basically what this effort is to try to get citizens involved, like yourself, that you always been involved with the community, to try to get each ward up and running with volunteers. They call them block captains. And what they do is help assist getting meetings together, like, 3-4 times a year.
Crime Watch
meetings, and basically, addressing issues. Now, like you live down on Stanish Road.
Right.
Your issues might be different from, say, something from Sargent Street. And your eyes and ears. You know what's going on. And what we're looking for is to, through the mayor, his effort, he's made public safety a #1 issue. And our chief, same thing. He's very pro this, pro that. We want to help out. And we're as good as what the people give us.
We're your eyes and ears. You got to remember
your eyes and ears, and that's what it does. We've had good success. We've had several meetings throughout the city. We've had one for Ward 6, Ward 4. We have one coming up for Ward 5. So we're doing, we're pushing very hard. We have a substation that we just opened up a month ago across from City Hall. That is open Monday through Friday.
Where is it located at?
Right at 6 Pleasant Street. And myself and a retired officer, Dennis Michella, he'll be there coordinating the resource program. Like I said, we got a lot in hand. We're doing citywide community policing, Morris, and we're going to be doing work with the businesses. The mayor's made an effort to really push Broadway. So I'll be concentrating on walking Broadway. I'll be riding the bike in the summertime, just to show the presence, show the business people who we are. If they have concerns, they can come contact me directly. Non-emergency, obviously. Anything with emergencies, you have to still contact main station.
Right, but how do they contact you? Call into what?
Yeah, we have an email. Everything, we're going to have everything posted in the journal with the numbers. And like I said, we can't stress enough that if it is an emergency, you still have to call the main station. It's not the police station. It's a substation, which is for meetings. People have concerns, answers, questions, whatever we can help them with. That's what we're there for. We'll be focusing on these issues. Like I said, this is a variety of what you can see on this table.
I know that is tremendous.
From the seniors to children. I do a lot with the children in the community, which I've been doing for years, which I really like to. Give them safe tips. We have a program coming up at the Immaculate, Take 25, which the mayor did a proclamation making May 25th for missing, exploited children. We're going to be talking to the children at the Immaculate about safety of going home to school, walking home, not taking rides. We're going to be going to school, me and myself and Officer Del Russo. We're going to be conducting a safety program for them, give literature for the parents, the kids to take home to their parents. And what you need, Morris, you need parents to get involved.
Definitely.
That's the problem today. We can't solve everybody's problem. Parents and guardians have to get involved with their children. That's on the children's side. As far as Crime Watch, you can see, we need the citizens.
Can I just interrupt you for 1 minute,
sure.
Jerry? We have 2 officers that I would like to thank myself. One, I'm sure, is not with the police force. He's retired. His name was Carl Borgioli.
Oh, a gentleman. I worked with Lieutenant Borgioli for years. Actually, I talk to him on a daily basis, and he's got a great wealth of knowledge.
Carl came down and helped us set up our watch for the Citizens Committee, the Crime Watch thing. And then there was Officer Chan.
Oh, John Chan.
On Shirley Avenue.
Yep, John Chan. He's still working. He's usually works that side of the city. He usually is a 3 or 4 car, which is mainly Shirley Ave.
And when Borgioli came in, there was heavy drug problems, not only on my street, but on Summer Street. Yeah. And thanks to people like Chan and Carl Borgioli, I believe it's a little better now.
Yes, it's getting better. Like I says, we've had a a series where we were very short in the department. As you know, when I came on, we had 120 guys.
Right.
And now, at one point, we were down to 80. At one point, I don't know where we are right
That's
now. Maybe
one third
closer.
almost gone.
Right, through the budget cuts, whatever it might be, people retiring, not getting backfilled, and that puts a stress on the department because it's 24/7. The ship's constantly going, and now hopefully the mayor is trying to bring up that numbers back up again. Mayor Rizzo made made public safety his thing, which we need. We need officers out there to do programs like this. You have to have dedicated. This is a very time consuming.
I know that.
But it's a great asset to the community because we're here to work with you. We're here to work with the people. And like I said, it takes a lot. A lot of volunteers like yourself and a lot of people because it's a large city.
And the community, and I would like to ask you, Jerry, if I may, you've
Yes.
got a couple, I mean, it's loaded here. But as a senior,
Yes, sir.
and I'm speaking for the senior center and myself,
Yes.
we get a lot of what I used to, con calls, scam calls. Could you just tell us
Yes,
something?
that's something I can't stress enough. I spoke to what's that Prospect House there on
Yep.
the old Heisel building,
Right.
and we had a meeting there, and I can't say it enough. I say, someone calls you on the phone, don't ever give out your information, your date of birth, your social security. These scams, they offer lottery winnings. They offer credit cards. They offer all kind of stuff. I can't stress enough, do not give out the information. There's scam artists everywhere. These people, Morris, make it a living to rob people. And they'll do anything they can. And for some reason, elderly get hurt. I'll give you an example. You have someone knocking on your door.
Right.
And I can't stress enough. If you see there and you don't know what their business is there, if you didn't call for anything, and it's not a police officer, ask what their nature is, why they're there. Don't let them into your home. If you feel uncomfortable, call the police.
What you just said happened to me, and I could give you a good example.
Right.
I had a man come over from the gas company.
Right.
Knocks on the door. He said, I'm here to inspect the gas.
Mm-hmm.
I see no gas truck.
Mm-hmm.
I see no ID.
That was great. That was great observation by you.
Right. No gas truck, no ID.
Mm-hmm.
So I says, let me see your ID. He says, I left it in the truck.
Oh.
I says, where's your truck? He says, it's around the corner. He says, I'll go back and get it. I never saw him again.
Right. That was fantastic. And that's what thank God,
Right.
you were smart enough to do. But some people, they're kind of gullible, and they let them in. We had that happen to a party off of Revere Street.
Yep.
They walked in. They said, we're from the water department. This is going back a couple years ago. And two gentlemen.
I was going to say that.
One-
They work in pairs.
One gentleman was talking to the elderly party, and while he was talking, the other guy was ransacking a
In the
room.
house, right.
And I can't stress enough, do not let them in. You have a call the cops. Call us. That's what we're here for. We're to help you. Like I says, they go shopping. I always say to them, they bring their pocketbooks. And I say, if you don't have to bring your pocketbook, put money in your pocket. I had an incident where a woman was shopping. She had her pocketbook on top of the cart, the shopping cart.
Yep.
She reached up to grab an item. She come down, and her pocketbook was gone. It takes that fast, half a second, and all her belongings were gone. You go to a bus stop. Make sure it's well lit. Make sure there's someone there. If not, leave.
Jerry.
ATM. They go up to the ATM. Look behind you.
Exactly.
Make sure there's no one behind you watching what you're doing. If you feel uncomfortable, walk out and come back in. Just things like that, Morris, that we love people to just think before they do something.
Let me give you another good example.
Sure.
I gave you the one about the gas company. I'll give you one right here at the Stop and Shop on Suffolk Downs.
Mm-hmm.
I usually go in and cash some checks that I get my Social Security. Some gentleman was very close. Now, I don't know what he was doing, whether he wanted to get in line, so I won't say. But we were warned that some of them have cameras, like button cameras.
Right.
And when you have your Social Security check, your ID, they don't say nothing to you. They just take a picture of
Right.
it, and all that information is already there.
Well, the technology we have today is, obviously you can see the phones take pictures, they can
Right.
do videos. So that just has to bring a level of awareness a little bit higher. You have to be aware of your surroundings. And just think before you do something. Look around, see who's with you. Like I said, there's scam artists everywhere. And like I said, I'm going to give you a bunch of these brochures. I know you want me to talk to a couple of seniors at the senior house.
Right, I would like you to call Mr. Al Morelli at the senior
Yeah, we'll
center
absolutely do
and
that.
make an appointment to come down there and actually give about a good half hour display to
I would
the
love
center.
to show all the stuff. Like I said, we have now, like I said, we have it for the businesses here. We have shoplifting, what the business can do to help prevent it. We have armed robbery. If a robbery takes place, what they should do, what they should, precautions to take. Then we have a branch surveillance there for the, the businesses like say Northgate, Target area, what they can do to improve their security. There's a lot involved.
I got to tell you, I got a next door neighbor
Mm-hmm.
that lives next to me, and she goes to work, and the house is left alone.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing she has that I love, she has 2 dogs. And if a stranger goes into the yard, they don't bark at me, but if you went into the yard, they bark and they make noise.
Right.
And then when I hear them barking, I usually check out, so it's good to have one neighbor look out for the other neighbor. Another thing I found out, Jerry, if you go on vacation, have your neighbor put out your garbage buckets so that no one knows that you're not home if they don't see buckets.
Morris, if more people do what you just say.
I learned that from these people.
Right. If people, the citizens of the city, do what you just said, just those few little things you said, it will reduce crime. It's unbelievable because that's what this crime watch is all about. It's basically the old saying, neighbors watching out for each other. You see a suspicious vehicle, you see some people sitting in there. Jesus, you're up and down the street all the time. Who's that? That doesn't look right.
I take the license plate number.
Right, license plate. We always tell the people, and like I said to you many times, never confront the people in the car because we don't want anybody to get involved. Get the license plate, description. That's the main thing for us to get. Because if something occurred, it could have been if someone's house could have got broken into, or they can be, looking to, to break into a house, see who's around. They know when you go to work. They know when you come home.
Exactly.
And you're walking down the street, like you just said. You see some, give us a call. It might be nothing. It could be something.
So having a dog is not a bad thing.
Dog is fantastic. Like I said, alarm systems you can afford. I know the alarms, they're expensive.
But you can break into with the alarm system.
You can break into, but at least. We're coming. Alarm's going off. Oh. We get called by the alarm companies. There's an alarm going off, such and such, and when we get down there. But there's precautions people can take. Like you said, watching out for each other. This is what this crime watch is all about. It's helping get to know your neighbors. The chief said earlier, the numbers in front of your house. Put numbers in the back of your house. Because maybe your neighbor can look and say, geez, that's Morris' house. I'm not too sure if he's number 27, 22. Have the numbers in the back of your house. So we come there, we know exactly where we're going. We go to houses that don't even have numbers on Morris. That don't, you go to, they have mailboxes.
That's a good point.
And they have mailboxes without their names. You have these multi-units, and we'll say, okay, what floor these people live on? We'll look at the mailbox, there's no names. That is so important to have because when we're responding to a call, we got to know who we're going to talk to, who the person needs help by.
I noticed one thing that we have now that you did not have when I was with Chan and Borgiolio years and years ago. You have police cars that are unmarked police cars. Like I went down the highway, all of a sudden I see a car go by me with just blue lights on top with the siren going.
Well, I'm sure the chief is
That's
hoping
good.
to get more police officers on and have that unmarked cars. Like we used to have certain cars marked down in Shirley Ave area. Police officers in plain clothes, dungarees, whatever.
Right, but doesn't that make the citizens like myself, like, how do I know you're really a police officer?
They'll have their badge on there. They'll have their badge on their belt or under their shirt and the neck. And they'll, you can ask for their ID. They'll have their ID on them to match the badge. The reason to undercover is so we can, the persons that might be doing something bad, they won't know they're the police.
Right.
So that can help us on the drug investigation. People say, oh, there's a certain house doing drugs. It takes time to build up a case to make sure, because sometimes it might look like drugs going on. It could be, or it cannot be. But being in plain clothes, you can do a lot more than being in uniform. They see a uniform officer in a cruiser, they're not going to do nothing, Morris. But eventually, hopefully, we get more officers on. We can start doing that and working with I work a lot close with the city councilors, and that helps too because they get a lot of information. People call their city councils, they call us. And this is what this program about, whether it's for the business, for the community policing, and this will help drop crime in the city. If everybody takes a little part, a little time out of their day, which is, like I said, it's all volunteer, it can really make a difference because you can maybe stop someone getting, robbed, a house getting broken into, a vehicle getting broken into.
Yep, and I got to tell you, one of these two officers told us that if you see heavy traffic, a lot of cars going, and usually they're only there for a few minutes, and the one after the other, you can almost assume that there's drug paraphernalia going on there.
As you know, Morris, the economy is in tough shape, and there's people out of work. And what happens when the economy gets bad? This is when you see a lot more shoplifting, a lot more drugs, a lot more stores getting robbed, because the economy's bad, and people tend to do, try to get out the easy way.
But it's good now, because when I go into the stores, and I really think it's fantastic, but they have the video cameras, a lot of people complain about, well, Big Brother's watching us. If you're not doing anything, you got no worries.
Well, listen, I think the cameras are the best thing ever happened.
I agree with you.
I'll give you an example, Morris. Look what just happened at the marathon. That camera they got was from Lord and Taylor.
Right.
You know what I mean? So cameras help. If I go to respond to, just say on Broadway, to a store that was robbed, we can get the video. We can probably ID somebody, or at least get the vehicle they traveled on by the plate.
I would like to see every street corner. Every street, it doesn't have to be the whole street, but every corner have a camera. So let's say a crime is committed at 2 in the morning on Standish Road.
Yep.
You check the camera, 201, that car.
I can't agree with you more. I think it's a
But
great
then and then you get people say, well, Big Brother's watching you.
Well, listen, unfortunately, Morris, we live in a society that's changed. It ain't like years ago when you grew up, I grew up.
I know.
Things were a lot simpler back then, and times have changed. You know what? If it's gonna hurt, if it's that system's gonna put someone that's away, it's gonna protect someone, I think it's worth it.
I do too.
I mean, if Big Brother's looking at you, it's better off having someone looking for you than not looking for you.
Okay, now I got to ask you a question, Jerry.
Anything you want, Mom.
We got a few minutes, and I like to kill some time.
All right.
Okay. Now, to become a police officer, I know there is no age limit, or is there?
I think they changed that. It used to be, but I think now it's up to a certain age. I'm not too. I can't give.
So that leaves me out.
I think. Well, I think it's a certain age. I know they changed. They used to be, a certain age. I think they uplift that.
Right, but what are the qualifications?
Well, first of all, it's a long process. You got to take the civil service exam.
Right. You
got to score. Obviously, you got to score high. You got to have a clean background. You got to have some education behind you. After you get all through that, and if they're hiring, if the departments are hiring, then you go to the next process, which it's a long process. You got to go get a physical, your drug test, and after you pass, psychological tests and all that, physicals. After you pass all that and you're deemed to go, then you go through a 6-month academy, which is like you served in the Army. It's like a boot camp.
Right.
And you're up early in the morning and you're running all day and you're doing academics during the day, going home and doing homework. So it becomes a long day, and it's very stringent. It's very tough. They put you through a lot of different scenarios, which you really need today, because look at the world we live in.
I know that. And I was going to ask you, did they give preference to veterans?
Yes, they do, sir.
They do?
Yes, they do, and they should.
I agree with you.
Veterans should have preference, and I'd be the first one to support that. And I think they serve that country well, and they deserve it. Even if they're disabled in some fashion, they can still do the job. There's a lot of work in police departments where you can do different things. And
you know what I like about the police department? It's not only like the Revere police. If they're in trouble, the Chelsea Police Department,
they call that mutual aid.
Right.
So just saying if something really occurred.
Just like what happened in Boston.
Just like in Boston. I mean, we have our SWAT team that's been over the last few days.
We got a SWAT team in Revere?
Absolutely. We have a SWAT team. They've been actually in Boston the last few days.
I'll have to behave myself, Jerry.
And they're trained in real serious matters, like what's going on. Unfortunately, this horrible scene we're having in Boston.
Oh, I got to tell you, that brings back a thing to me. Maybe you can refresh my memory. Yeah. Many years ago, there was a woman that murdered someone in Las Vegas.
Okay.
At the Golden Nugget.
Okay.
And I believe she lived they caught her on Kimball Avenue.
Really?
I think you might remember that.
I don't recall. I'm sorry, Morris. You know how long ago that was? There's so much happened.
Many years ago.
Many years ago.
And the reason they caught her because someone happened to see the picture in the paper and notified the Revere police, and they arrested her and they shipped her back to wherever it was.
Right, and that's what it's all about. Like I said, someone recognizes.
Eyes and ears. We are the eyes and ears of the city and at the police department.
Right, and this is what we have. This is what we're looking to do. With the mayor, the chief. We're looking, like I said, we're looking for volunteers to get involved, being like they call them street captains. We're making a big push to get these meetings going, and hopefully we can serve to help the public. That's what we're here for. We're here
And
to...
another thing I like about the police today, and I do because I'm a citizen, that if you don't do anything wrong, you got nothing to worry about.
Nothing at all.
Right, is when you go after somebody, you got the camera in front of your car. As you walk out of your car, the camera shows exactly what you could do, so nobody can say they were harassed or mistreated.
Right.
Right.
You're absolutely right. This is what it's all about, working together, Morris.
Now I got to ask you another
Go
question,
ahead.
if I may, Jerry.
You could ask me anything you like.
Okay, no, I'm not a criminal, so I want you to know that. I'm just curious. They have computers in the cars.
Yes,
I
they
can't
do.
work on a computer. They have now what they call facial identification.
Yeah, they have these. We have our new system where it actually runs the plates of the cars.
Right.
And it'll tell you if the plates,
How, right away, or does it?
right away. It comes right up. It'll start flashing on our computer. We have a computer and a laptop. I can show you someday, and it'll tell you if the plates, expired, if it's revoked, if it's.
And it'll also tell me, like, if I had a bad record, let's say, which I don't.
It'll tell you. It'll say that you have an expired license or revoked license or no license.
If I'm wanted, let's say, in another state, it'll tell you too.
Yeah, that's something we go to the next page on that. There's a couple different things you go on it, but that'll tell. Like this, instantly.
Yeah, that's why New York kicked me out. That's why I'm ever Revere.
Well, it's like I said, it's technology and it's great, and this is what we're about.
I know that, but I got to tell you something. The police have a tough job because you don't know who you're stopping. You don't know if I got a gun or not.
Absolutely.
And this is what's been going on in our country, actually, on there. So, by the way, do the police have a right to arrest people that are here illegally?
Oh, of course. I mean, there's, if you're illegal, I mean,
No, I mean, like, let's say I'm an illegal immigrant.
Right.
But you stop me for speeding, not because I'm an illegal. Do the police still have that right to?
Well, they will contact ICE and immigration, all that stuff.
ICE? What do you mean by that?
Immigration would take over that.
Oh, that's ICE?
ICE, yeah. Immigration, they would look into it and see what the status is. That's another process, Morris. You know what I mean? Because they still have rights, even though they're not. They could be living here.
Okay.
So it's a little process.
Under the Constitution, even the illegals have the same rights as illegals.
Well, everybody has the Constitution. If they, obviously they're here, they must be living here. So that's another subject for another day.
Okay, Jerry, before we close, I'm going to give you 2.5 minutes.
All right.
Okay, that's 120 and 30, 150 minutes to close up and say whatever you like.
Well, like I said, Morris, I'd like to thank you for having us here.
It's my pleasure, and it's the city's pleasure.
And I can say to all the people listening, and that we are here. We're here to work with the community. We'd like to really get this community policing going through the mayor's effort, the chief's effort. Like I said, he's very dedicated to this public safety. He's really dedicated to clean up Broadway, to make it more safe. He wants people to feel safe. They go out to dinner, shopping, whatever it might be. As you can see, we have a lot of presence on Broadway now.
Yep, new lights going up.
New lights going on. We have walking routes on there.
Bicycle paths.
Right. We're moving forward, and like every city in town, Morris, every place has problems. People say, "Oh, it's Revere." No matter where you live in the Commonwealth, it's got issues. Everywhere you go, got issues. So, all I can say is get involved, watch out for your neighbors, just be alert.
And
be
you
alert.
go to the schools and explain all that.
I do a lot with the schools too. I'm signed to this this new program here, the Community Resource Officer, but I still do a lot with the schools. Like I said, I'm doing the Immaculate for the missing and exploited children. That's part of my job, being involved in the community. I've been doing it for years. I've been a school officer. I've been involved with the community a lot of years.
By the way, talking about school, Mr. Paul Dakin,
yes,
#1 superintendent in the Commonwealth.
Yep, gentleman, Mr. Dakin. Yep.
He's been appointed by, I believe, Speaker DeLeo as part of the Gun Control Commission on there.
Yeah, I worked very closely with former Carol Ty.
Oh yes.
And then I worked with Mr. Dakin in the schools. So go back quite a few years being involved with the schools, and I think it starts off with the children. You show them a presence, show that they can trust you, who they can go for help, and this is what it's about.
Right, Jerry. Before we close, I want to say it's an honor to have you come up here.
Mr. Morris, always a pleasure, sir.
An honor to have you here as part of Revere's finest.
Thank you,
May
sir.
God bless you and take good care of you. May God bless our troops, our city, our veterans in the United States of America, Jerry. And thank you all out there for listening, and I hope you people learned a good thing about what this Officer Salvati stated. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Morris.